What is up, everyone? Ninja Nick 333 back with another round of the World Championships, the Pokemon Trading Card Game World Championships. We've got Caleb Gettimer on the left with a Mew VMAX deck. That's what their whole group is playing. And on the right, Chi, I just missed because I was spending too much time looking at Caleb's. Lugia, we have a Radiant Serena in the prize cards, as well as a Jet Energy, an Archeops, and a Lugia V-Star. So not the best prize cards for Daichi, but both of these are pretty well-known players. Glad I hit mute on my mic in time. I sneeze very loudly. Looks like Daichi goes first, just attaches a V-Guard energy to the Lugia and passes. I believe both of these players most likely were able to skip day one of the tournament by placing in the top of their respective territories. Like Caleb was top 16 in North America, so he got to skip day one of the tournament, go straight into the actual World Championships, the day two. As you guys can see, both of these players are 0-0-0. They reset day two. This is a whole brand new tournament compared to before. So this is technically round one, but I will be calling it round 9. Or do I want to? I suppose I could rename all the videos like day 1 round 1 and day 2 round 1. Yeah, that's probably the correct way to go about it. I have like 4 of the videos uploaded already, and I'm just like still recording. I'm finding it very difficult to find enough time to get all of these recorded and still finish packing for my move. So let's see. Oh, Daichi also played a Path to the Peak, it looks like. I did not notice that earlier, but that's going to slow Caleb's start down quite a bit because he's not going to be able to use those Genesect abilities unless he is able to find another Stadium card here. So it looks like we are going to go for the Elisa Sparkle. We are going to be able to get a Fusion Strike energy onto 2 of our Pokemon. You do have to select those Pokemon first before you play the Elisa Sparkle. So chooses the Meloetta and the Mew V, grabs those 2 energies out of the deck. Usually you want to attach a Fusion Strike energy for turn first before you play the Elisa Sparkle. That way it like maximizes the odds of you like Genesecting into an energy by not playing the Elisa Sparkle yet. Because now there is at most 2 Fusion Strike energies left in the deck. And in order to find one of those this turn to be able to attack with the with the Meloetta is going to be a rough thing to try to do. So it looks like we draw 2 cards here, and we are going to Ultra Ball, discarding the Mew V and Mew VMAX to find another Genesect. This is a bit risky from Caleb here, but it will very much pay off if he is able to find the final Fusion Strike energy. So draws 4 cards. Will he be able to get there? Finds the Forest Seal Stone, uses it to find the Fusion Strike energy that's not in his prize cards, correct? Yes, and now he is able to Melodious Echo for 210, plus the Choice Belt is 240, ignores the V-Guard energy because Meloetta is not a V Pokemon, and is able to take the turn 1 KO. Very difficult to pull off in the Mew deck with the current builds where it only has 2 Elisa Sparkle. And it was especially difficult because he played the Elisa before being able to draw any cards off of Genesect, but was able to get there because of the power of the Forest Seal Stone he was able to find off of that second Genesect. So pretty easy, clean win there from Caleb. And we are going to see if he is able to have an equally as easy game 2. Oh, that's the replay. I'm like, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. I like that they do the replays now. It's really cool. Look at Caleb's smile on his face. The last time I played Caleb, he was playing Gardevoir. We had a very long game 1 that I won, and then a very long game 2 that he barely managed to squeeze out for a tie, but it was like his like 6th tie of the tournament or something. I might be exaggerating slightly. I think it was like his Yeah, it might have actually been his 6th tie of the tournament. did not do well that day. So it's good to see he knows how to win a game fast. I should have won that game too also. He got really, really lucky. Well, looks like we are going to go for a mulligan, so Daichi is going to be able to draw an extra card that will really help him get to the Lugia V-Star with the Archeops this game. Daichi should be going first yet again. It would be nice to see maybe an Ultra Ball getting rid of 2 Archeops on turn 1. Maybe getting a second Lugia V-Star into play, or maybe starting a 1 prizer in order to start the Lugia on the bench. Looks like we do start the Stonejourner. It does hit resistance on Mew VMAX, so not the best Pokemon to have in the start. You would have preferred maybe the Evoltol, but at least we do have a couple of Lugia Vs in our hand. You have to bench both of those, because if Caleb is able to do that same type, well, I guess not necessarily. I don't think you need to bench both of those. You'd rather be attacking with the Darkness Pokemon in this deck, so I don't know if you even want to have 2 Lugia Vs in play. And just attaches a V-Guard for turn onto one of them, and then passes the turn here. Oh yeah, because Caleb could play Escape Rope. That's why you bench both of those. Yeah, I forgot about the Escape Rope for some reason. So yeah, if Caleb were to Escape Rope here, that will force one of those up, and we could still see the same Elisa Sparkle attach for turn play that we saw in the last game to be able to knock out a Lugia turn 1. Would be very powerful for Caleb to be able to do, and I think that that is why this Mew deck is a little bit favored into Lugia, even though it has all those Darkness Pokemon, including the Evoltol as a 1 prizer that could potentially one-shot a Mew with enough single strike energies on it. We could still see the almighty power of the Meloetta here. The Melodious Echo screaming into the void until the God of the Seas dies. It's basically what happened game 1. So we are going for the Power Tablet, as well as benching an Ice Cube here, probably just to draw the most amount he can off of his first Genesect. We're likely not going to be seeing an attack this turn, so the Power Tablet isn't really going to benefit him too much. We're going to see these 4 Seal Stones come down in case maybe one of them gets Lost Vacuumed. I don't really think that Lugia plays Lost Vacuum usually ever, but might as well play it down just to thin it out of the deck for our Iono here. So both players are going to draw a fresh 6 cards. Looks like we do draw a Fusion Strike Energy and Elisa Sparkle. That would have been nice to have on the last turn, because you could Ultra Ball for the Meloetta and then attach an Elisa Sparkle. Maybe use the 4 Seal Stone to find a switch card, and then Melodious Echo to take the first prize of the game. But if Daichi has a good enough hand here, we might actually just see the turn 1 double Archeops into play, but I don't see it. I see the Lugia V-Star, but I don't even really see a supporter or any Archeops or ways to discard Archeops in the hand currently, or even ways to search them. Looks like we are going to put down a 3rd Forest Seal Stone. Just kind of flexing right now. Those cards are like 15 bucks, but they're in the Prize Pack Series 3 as non-holos, and I'm really excited to get those. I do not like playing holos. If I can avoid playing a holo card, I will. Gonna draw some more cards with our second Genesect, and it looks like maybe this will just be a pass from here. At least we did get a second Mew V down. Since we are not attacking with the Meloetta this turn, it's fine to not have it in play just yet. So have a full bench with the Ice Cube. Ice Cube's not going to be super relevant this game. It's just really here to be extra card draw off of having an extra benched Fusion Strike Pokemon. The Ice Cube, for those who don't know, does 40 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon for every Fusion Strike energy you have in play. So it can do a max of 160. It can snipe Baxcaliburs off the bench. It can snipe Octilleries off the bench, Beebrils off the bench. So Really great way to play Mew, a little bit like a control deck to try to limit your opponent from being able to do what they want to do by picking off a benched Pokemon fairly easily. So it looks like we have... Did we play our own Iono here? Looks like we must have. We have a Lugia V-Star now. Yes, so we evolved to the Lugia V-Star. We Iono'd, drew another Lugia V-Star. We have a Capturing Aroma and an Arceus, or no, Archeops in hand, but we have no way to discard those Pokemon. So maybe next turn we could Capturing Aroma to find the Luminion in order to find the Burnett out of the deck to discard 2 Archeops and then get going, but then you don't have any Darkness Pokemon in play, and that's your real out to being able to kill those Mews. You won't be able to play Boss's Orders in the same turn as that, so you won't be able to bring up an easily knocked out Genesect. So Daichi's not really in that great of a position, and you can see why Lugia just kind of has its problems right now. Looks like we're going to Lost Vacuum the Forest Seal Stone off of the Ice Cube is perfectly fine because you can't use the effect of it when it's on the Ice Cube. And we are going to use our next Genesect to draw some more cards. Mew definitely being the most oppressive deck in the format since its creation, really. It has only gotten stronger the more counters have come for the deck, it seems. Because it gains new cards such as these Lost Cities to be able to play around Drapion. It can use that Ice Cube to also snipe the Spiritomb off of the bench. They've gone back to the Fusion Strike Energy build because the Fusion Strike Energies allow the Fusion Strike Pokemon they're attached to ignore the abilities of your opponent's Pokemon getting around the Spiritomb as well. It even used to be completely shut down by Path to the Peak, but the deck even plays its own Path to the Peak now to shut off the opponent in the mirror or the Drapion as well in the decks that play that. So it's really cool to see that a deck like Mew could have been invested into when Fusion, with the Fusion Strike set dropped, and you could have played it at every single tournament to a decent finish since then. And it really goes to show how wide open of a meta that Pokemon can be and how strong every individual deck that is printed is. Because even Lugia, from the day that it was printed, you could have played it in every single tournament since then as well. Even after rotation, we see that it's evolved into the single strike version where it can use single strike energies, searching those out of the deck with the Archeops to be able to power up Pokemon like the Tyranitar V, in order to still take big knockouts that you otherwise would not be able to now that you no longer have access to the amazing rare Evoltol. You have to play the single strike Evoltol instead. Looks like we are flipping a coin for the Cram-O-Matic. Must have been a Tails because I don't see us searching the deck just yet. We are playing another Power Tablet. We are going to use our next Genesect to draw some more cards. We still have access to our V-Star power. We can still use the Star Alchemy of the Forest Seal Stone if we are still missing a card. Looks like we are trying our best to maybe one-shot this Lugia V-Star this turn. So right now, the V-Guard and the Choice Belt are canceling each other out. We're doing 190. We're doing 250 right now with the Mew. We used the Forest Seal Stone for the last Power Tablet. We are now going to be able to hit exactly 280 through after the V-Guard energies effect is applied. And yeah, we 4 damage modifiers, one of them being canceled out by the V-Guard, hitting 280 damage, and the Lugia even goes to Lost Zone for extra measure there. Completely unnecessary that it goes there. This deck does not play Pokemon Recovery. But this Lugia deck is now pretty far behind. We do have a Professor's Research getting rid of another Research as well as a Lugia and something else. I can't quite tell what it is, but still no Archeops in the discard pile. The hand has just been disrupted so many times that we just have not been able to find our way there. And I think if you're Daichi, you really have to consider scooping at this point because you can get your Archeops next turn, but Caleb could potentially just take another prize by then. And what are you going to do? Just trade your 2 prize Tyranitar for for a 3 prize Mew and then just have the next Mew come up and knock it out? I don't know. But maybe you think the Tyranitar is powerful enough that maybe you can take 6 prizes just off of it. So, Burnett on this next turn. Bench the Tyranitar. But I think you would have wanted to maybe bench it on this past turn and just hope your opponent doesn't boss it up. But I guess you can just retreat the Lugia into it, so I suppose that's still fine. So we are going to hit for 190 here because of the double turbo energy. We did have to retreat into our other Mew VMAX because the first one is not able to attack this turn because of the Technoblast's effect, saying you cannot attack 2 turns in a row if you've used Technoblast. So we are searching the deck now. We are seeing how many single strike energies that we have. It's very interesting that Fusion Strike Pokemon, Rapid Strike Pokemon, and Single Strike Pokemon are all very relevant in the current meta. Lugia being the best way to play Single Strike, the Inteleon Urshifu being the best way to play Rapid Strike, and of course Mew being basically the only way to play Fusion Strike. But those are the Rapid and Single Strikes were kind of just never good until this rotation happened. So it's funny to see that the oldest set, the what was it, Battle Styles, is kind of one of the most relevant sets in the format right now. But it never was when the set was printed. Because I remember I did a live stream of some friends of mine opening a booster box of Battle Styles that they bought, and I think they pulled like an Alt-Art Urshifu, and it was like the bad one, whatever the bad one was at the time. I guess Rapid Strike Urshifu was somewhat playable for a little while, but like the Single Strike Urshifu never was until Lugia came to be. So we are going to bench our T-Tar this turn here. We're going to use our V-Star power to get the 2 Archeops that we just put into the discard pile from the Burnett into play. Those Archeops look really nice with that nice silver border hollow pattern. We do get the Tyranitar to the bench, and now we can use Archeops to get the single strike energies that we need out of the deck. We can even attach the gift energy from hands to the Tyranitar should we want to. I would really like to see maybe a V-Guard energy go to the Tyranitar as well if we still have access to another one. Usually the deck does play 2 V-Guards. We're only down 1 right now. So as long as that maybe wasn't prized. So we are going to go for our second Archeops ability to be able to find 2 more energy cards out of the deck. We do have a gift energy in the deck, so probably going to go for that, and the V-Guard energy I see there as well. So maybe this Tyranitar can just win off of 2 turns of knockouts. We'll have to see. The Tyranitar will most likely live since Caleb had to spend so many resources to be able to just knock out that one Lugia at the beginning, and the Daichi smartly did put that second Lugia V into play, having access to a second Lugia V star. And not being punished so far for not going for the scoop here to save time. Daichi definitely playing this very well here. So we're going to see the retreat of the Lugia V-Star into the Tyranitar. And of course Caleb could get an easy 2 prizes just bossing up that Lugia for the knockout, or even using Ice Cube's attack off the Mew that's on the bench to knock out the Lugia as well, to go down to 2 prize cards remaining. But you still need to find a way through this Tyranitar. It's really scary, and it's doing quite a lot of damage. It's doing 240 plus 20 for each of those single strike energies, so that is 280 times 2 for weakness is 560 damage to any one of these Mew VMAXs. And yeah, with this V-Guard energy, it effectively has 260 HP. Milling a boss's orders here is actually very relevant, because now you have to be able to find another boss's orders, but takes it off the prize cards. And we might actually see Daichi win on this next turn. He did nothing for 3 whole turns. Caleb being able to just do whatever he wanted, styling on Daichi. Or maybe it was 2 whole turns. And taking that big one-shot on a Lugia and just getting punished by the power of Tyranitar. And this shows the exact strength of Lugia currently. So Caleb trying to figure out exactly how he wants to play his hand here. We are going to go for the Nest Ball here. Try to find another Pokemon out of the deck. Do we even have any left? It looks like we do have a couple in hand, so probably just using that Nest Ball to identify what's left remaining in his deck to see if there is any sort of play he could possibly go for to try to play around to this Tyranitar. I think maybe you want to boss up the Stonjourner and then maybe knock out the Lugia on the bench with the... Oh, no, that doesn't feel right either. I mean, with the 2 Archeops that are in play, right, you could... Oh, you know what you could do? So you could boss up the Stonjourner and then use the Ice-Cube to knock out... no, because you don't have enough Fusion Strike energies in play. You can't knock out an Archeops here either. So Daichi is going to put up an Archeops here off of the Escape Rope. The one that has the Gift Energy on it so that he can draw until he has 7 cards in his hand. But he already has, it looks like, 7 cards in his hand. So in case his opponent does go for the Judge or INO, he will be able to redraw quite a bit of cards here. So still great that he put that Pokemon up. Even though the Gift Energy does not currently matter, it could if Caleb plays a different supporter to disrupt the hand. Both players have 2 cards in the Lost Zone, completely irrelevant to the conversation here because they're not Lost Zone decks. Neither of them plays Cramorant, Mirage Gate, Giratina, or Sableye. Bosses up the Stonjourner here, like I said, might happen. Goes for the Path to the Peak. It's an interesting choice. Shutting your own abilities off, not shutting off anything from Daichi. I guess just hoping that his opponent does not have a way to retreat the Stonjourner and a boss's orders, playing the Path to the Peak to shut off the ability of Luminion, but looks like we are just going to be able to use the ability to find at least 1 energy out of the deck. Do we have a double turbo in hand? If we have a double turbo in hand, we can fulfill the 3 retreat cost of this Stonjourner, and we do. We have that. We boss up the Mew, retreat into the Tyranitar, and take the game. So Daichi wins game number 1 with half of the time remaining left on the clock. About 26 minutes left. By the time they are all shuffled up and ready to go, they'll probably have about 24 minutes left on the clock. So we'll have to see if Caleb is able to win this out from here. Definitely a little bit favored slightly, I would say, for Daichi, but Caleb could always go first now. And Daichi could always just get 1 Lugia on the bench, and Caleb just bosses it up and knocks it out. And then Daichi can never get any Archeops into play. So still a really powerful play potentially from Caleb. They are 1-1 now. So we'll have to see who is able to win game number 3. I almost forgot game 1 even happened, honestly. Looks like Daichi is checking his sleeves here, making sure they're all good. They should be playing with brand new sleeves in this tournament anyway. I'm just going to keep skipping ahead until we are all set and ready to go. Wow, this is taking some time. 23 minutes left on the clock, so an extra minute more than I thought. Looks like we do prize a single strike energy, a double turbo, a Lugia, a Tyranitar. Looks like a 1-1 Mew VMAX line, so nothing terribly relevant from either player. Looks like Daichi does start the Serena, which is both good and bad. It's good that, I mean, it's probably like the most irrelevant Pokemon in this deck to this matchup. The Serena does not do anything at all. All it does is heal your Pokemon, and Caleb is looking to reach for one-shots on Daichi's Pokemon and just opting for the full speed of being able to just go Mew boss, I win. Daichi, if this Serena does not go down on this next turn, if Caleb is able to boss around it, he's just going to have that bench spot being taken up by something that isn't able to be used. So it would have been a lot better to see maybe an Evital start, because then if Caleb is not able to knock that out, he could always use that. Even the Stonjourner wouldn't have been too bad, because that thing can always attack into a Genesect. But at least the Serena does have one less retreat cost than the Stonjourner, so maybe it is a little better in that regard. But of course, Caleb is going to start with the Battle VIP Pass, the Nest Ball, and we're going to flip for the Cram-O-Matic, discarding another Cram, and we do flip the heads, it looks like. So we will be able to find yet another Battle VIP Pass, most likely here, to fill our entire bench up with Fusion Strike Pokemon. And yeah, you'll love to see it. This is a very powerful start from Caleb, especially since he has 2 stadiums and the Mew VMAX in hand. You need to be able to fill your full bench in order to be able to find as many of these Pokemon as possible to be able to draw until you have the most cards as possible. So searches that next Battle VIP Pass. We have a full bench now, and we are going to be able to use Genesect to draw until we have 6 cards in hand, not having to play out any of our stadiums just yet, should we not want to. It might be fine to put the Lost City into play now. Your opponent is not playing Drapion, but maybe you want to just Lost Zone their Tyranitar, especially since there is a Tyranitar in the prize cards right now. If you Lost Zone the first Tyranitar that attacks into you, you might not be able to see another Tyranitar come from Daichi for the rest of the game. Especially since it is like kind of high up in the prize cards. We see an immediate research getting rid of 1 Archeops here. Also a Urn of Vitality is a little bit scary to get rid of. We do find our second Lugia V, so we are now no longer afraid of Mew being able to knock us out in 1 hit here. We even have a Gift Energy on one of the Lugias, so if Caleb wants to go after the one with the energy on it, we will be able to draw it until we have 7 cards in our hand. So Caleb is more than likely going to go after the one that has no energy on it, which will also allow Daichi to be able to power that Lugia up just off of 1 Primal Turbo, without having to get 2 double turbos on it. So just a pass there from Daichi. That's all he really needed to do this turn. At the very least, he will have access to 1 Archeops for this game. He does have another research, so if he is able to find his way to another Archeops, maybe off of his top deck or something, we will definitely be able to see him get to the full 2. But he will be expending quite a lot of resources to be able to do that. If he does have to research a second time, he will have to get rid of that boss's orders, as well as a couple of energy cards potentially. So I don't really like that. And Daichi might actually honestly just go for 1 Archeops this turn. And also he is missing the Lugia V-Star, so he might just have to go for the research anyway, just to find the Lugia V-Star. So Caleb is playing a Power Tablet. He's going to draw until he has 6 cards in his hand. Looks like maybe he's thinking about playing an Ultra Ball here, discarding Lost Vacuum and Iono. Definitely don't want to play that here from your opponent, with the way your opponent's hand is currently set up, at least. It looks like we did discard a Genesect as well, so we're going to be down 1 Genesect for this game. They're not playing Silene in this list, I don't believe, which is a card that a lot of these Mew VMAX decks were playing for a little while. Which you flip 2 coins, and for each heads, put a card from your discard pile back on the top of the deck. So you could recycle like your Fusion Strike energies that way. It was never a very good card. It's very unreliable. But it could be what you needed at times. So we're going to go for the Cram-O-Matic. We're going to flip, and there is a Tails discarding that Ultra Ball. So less ways to thin the hand here. We did hard attach that Fusion Strike energy last turn, right? So we could always, we haven't used our V-Star power, we could always go for the attach return to the Mew VMAX, and then search for the Elisa's Sparkle, and then just hope to draw into a switch card. But I think it's better to just do this. Yeah, he's gonna attach to the Meloetta, play another Power Tablet, and maybe draw and hope to find exactly Escape Rope, and Elisa's Sparkle would be really good here. Gotta find double Turbo Energy. Not exactly what you want to see here. He does get Pal Pad. He can shuffle back in some supporters. He's going to choose just the 1 Iono. See, we got Battle VIP Pass. Yeah, there's nothing much. We've already used our attach for a turn, so we're not able to retreat, say, the Genesect here with our double turbo. So we are going to have to Forest Seal Stone just for a potential switching card. No, it looks like we chose the Judge here. So we are going to Path Judge. And yeah, he forgot to flip his V-Star marker over. So we're going to Path Judge here and hope that we maybe find our switch card to be able to attack with the Meloetta this turn. We can do 140, which is exactly enough to knock out the Serena. And we're going to really hope that the Path to the Peak stays in play if our opponent maybe doesn't find the Mesagosa or Collapse Stadium. But that hand was not very good for Daichi, so I don't even know if Daichi is even too upset about this. And he gets Burnett and a Stadium? Oh no! He has Nest Ball. Does he have a way to the Lugia V-Star? It looks like he does not. Oh, he has the Capturing Aroma. If he Capturing Aroma and flips heads, Daichi basically just wins this game. He'll be very favored to win now. So Capturing Aroma, if we flip heads, this is the most important flip of the match. Tails. Oh, no. Yeah, if that was heads, he could have gone for the Lugia V-Star. He could have Burnetted 2 of his Archeops into the discard pile. Used one of them to put a double turbo onto his active, the other one to put a double turbo and another energy onto his benched Lugia. He could retreat and then knock out the Genesect. And Daichi is thinking really hard about this choice here. The coin flip was super important, and this is exactly why it would have been great to see a card like I just completely lost my train of thought there. It would have been great to see if we still had access to a card like Evolution Incense instead, because that would have just guaranteed that Daichi was able to find his evolution. But unfortunately, we have to play with this very suboptimal Capturing Aroma instead. It's such a bad card, and it's the #1 reason why I refuse to play Lugia in its current state. If they want to reprint Evo Incense, or if they even want to print just like Timer Ball instead, would be perfectly fine for me. If I flip double tails on Timer Ball, well, at least I was looking for an evolution if I even got one, right? Yeah, Timer Ball was always felt like an awful card to play in like Greninja and stuff back in the day. Looks like we're searching our deck to see how many urns and single strike energies we have. We do have one single strike energy, I believe, in the prize cards, and we discarded one urn. Some of these Lugia decks are only playing 2 Urn of Vitality because of that one guy who was 9th, but then they DQ'd a guy, so he became 8th and played in top 8 of NAIC. He was only playing 2 urns for some reason. I would never play 2 urns. So we are going to Burnett. That seems like the smartest option here. Caleb really didn't have that great of a start in the last turn. And you were really able to play from behind in this last game with the Tyranitar, being able to get quite a lot of value off of it, forcing your opponent to use all their resources on one Lugia V-Star. So it would be great to see those Lugia V-Stars now, even if you're not able to use them because of the Path to the Peak. But yeah, we're having a really hard time here. Looks like on the next turn, we could always play the Stadium and the Luminion and then be able to attack. So we're kind of hoping that our opponent knocks out the Serena instead of the Lugia here. That would definitely be the best thing for Daichi. So Caleb, what is he going to do with this Path to the Peak in play? He's going to attach an energy to his active and retreat it. Yeah, the Path to the Peak being a little bit worse for Caleb than it was for Daichi. Seems like it would have just been better to just attack last turn with the Meloetta. The hand for Daichi was a lot worse, so Caleb's game plan coming back to bite him quite a bit. Capturing Aroma again flips tails. Oh, man. Yeah, so we're going to have to see this Luminion come down just to be able to... Oh, our stadium is the Collapse Stadium, right? If we use the... Oh, no. If we use the Luminion, we'll be 1 bench space short, right? Oh, no, because the knockout happened. Yeah, so maybe Caleb should have just not taken the knockout last turn. With the full knowledge of Daichi's hand. So we will be able to see a Professor's Research come out of this hand, and just as long as we see a Lugia V-Star off of this hand, we will be able to see the Starbirth getting exactly 2 Archeops from the discard pile, because we do have 2 bench spaces open. Remember, he did take a knockout. That's what I was forgetting. I'm like, oh no, he only has 1 bench space open. No, he has 2. So yeah, this is definitely Daichi's favored game now. Caleb only got a 1-prize knockout. Daichi will be able to respond with just a 1-prize knockout, but he'll be attacking here with a V Pokemon that will have most likely a V-Guard energy on it, with a whole bunch of HP, with no Darkness Pokemon in play. It's going to force Caleb into that same situation that happened last game, where he's going to have to expend quite a lot of power tablets in order to be able to take the knockout. So I think Caleb's better course of action will just be to maybe boss up the Luminion, and maybe just try to ignore the Lugias for as long as possible, so that you have those power tablets available to you for for the Tyranitar. But as you can see, there is already 2 power tablets down, because Caleb did have to expend those just to draw some cards, not drawing as optimally as possible here, because he of course is playing the Fusion Strike Energy version. Gets the V-Guard Energy and the Double Turbo off of the first Archeops. We're going to use the second Archeops probably to charge up the second Lugia, or maybe to just get 1 Gift Energy onto one of the Archeops. Wouldn't be too bad either, in case an Escape Rope comes down. So what are we going to get here? Yeah, I would say probably like just a Gift Energy to the Archeops. It would allow it to retreat, or we could put maybe Gift to V-Guard onto the Lugia V-Star. Wouldn't be too bad. We do have 1 Double Turbo in the prize cards. Oh, he's thinking about maybe putting it on the Luminion instead. I think that's a good choice, because then it does allow you to draw until you have 7 cards. If Caleb does want to try to boss up the Luminion, it will give Daichi more cards in hand. So yeah, I'm not opposed to that line of play. Looks like we're actually going for the V-Guard on the Luminion, making that knockout just slightly harder to do. That's actually a good play as well, knowing how many power tablets Caleb has used. I think Daichi's hand, while it is kind of small, it is still kind of fine. If Caleb is able to find maybe the Choice Belt or another power tablet to go for the boss play on the Luminion, at least Daichi is making it as hard as possible to take that knockout. So we are going to promote the Mew V. It does have free retreat if we need to retreat into the Mew VMAX. That won't be too much of an issue. We are going to go for a second Nest Ball. Looks like we failed the first one just so that we can play the second one. We do find a Mew V off of this, maximizing the amount of cards that we can potentially draw with our hand here with the Genesect. We do have 4 cards still in hand. We can evolve to the Mew VMAX. We can play the Power Tablet should we want to, if we want to draw that extra card. Otherwise, we're just drawing 2 here. And drawing 2 does not feel very good, but we're going to go for it. I think that is the correct choice. We do find both Boss's Orders, and we find the Elisa Sparkle. So we could actually go play Boss's Orders and the Power Tablet, bring up the Luminion, and we will be able to take the knockout if we do find a Double Turbo off of this second Genesect, but we will really have to find that. And I think, honestly, that is probably the best course of action for Caleb right now. Because if you knock out the Luminion and a Tyranitar does come down, it will make it a lot easier to knock out that Tyranitar, but nope, we're going to go for the... Oh, no, this is even better. Yeah, we're going to boss up the Archeops. Playing the Power Tablet feels really bad. It does maximize your odds of finding the Double Turbo Energy, and it looks like we are just going to fail that. We don't find any Double Turbo Energies. We have the Elisa Sparkle, but we didn't even find a Fusion Strike Energy to attach for turn. So even if we hadn't gone for the boss play, yeah, this is really rough for Caleb. He's just kind of bricking this game. Very unfortunate for him. And you can see why this Lugia V-Star deck is so favored. It is just... it's just able to just have a big HP Pokemon and then clean up with the Tyranitar for weakness later. That's exactly why they play the Single Strike Energy version. It just hits really hard, especially into Mew VMAX. Again, 560 is not that bad of a number. We are going to attack into the Mew VMAX for 200 damage, because we do have It normally hits 220, but we have the double turbo, so that is minus 20, so just 200. And we can choose to discard a stadium card in play. We're going to discard our own collapsed stadium so that we have an additional bench spot remaining. And I do like that play. It does allow Caleb another Pokemon to be able to put in play to draw some extra cards. And Caleb is choosing not to bench the Ice Cube, even though that is in hand. He definitely could have done it, but I think he wants to save that space for another Genesect. But remember, I think he did discard one earlier in this game. Unless I'm getting my games mixed up, which is entirely possible. But while we're here, remember to comment, like, and subscribe. Really important for the YouTube algorithm. Make sure you see more videos like this, whether they are from me or from other people. And all of that good stuff. So we are going to Ultra Ball away a Feather Ball and a Battle VIP Pass. And it looks like we are just failing that just so that we can draw some more cards here with Genesect. Use our first Genesect here. We do find the double turbo energy this turn. Looks like we're going to attack with our active. Not sure how I like that. Although I guess if you switch, right? I guess if you don't attack with your active one, the, oh, he's Psychic Leaping. Oh, this is much better. So he copies the Psychic Leap off of the Mew V. Is able to do 70 minus 20 for the double turbo plus 30, so 80 damage, right? Or no, he didn't have a, did he not have a choice belt on it? Oh, he has the V-Guard. That's right. So 50, because the V-Guard cancels out the choice belt. Softens up that Lugia quite a bit and effectively heals the Mew off, so we might see him try to loop these Psychic Leaps multiple turns in a row to effectively heal his Mew VMAX every turn, but he's going to have to find a Mew V and a Mew VMAX every single turn in order to be able to go for this play. Or, yeah. I guess at least just a Mew. Because if you Psychic Leap with one Mew V on the bench, your opponent just bosses up the Mew and knocks it out, then you have no attacker for the next turn, and Daichi is able to just steamroll from there. So it looks like we're going to go for the Capturing Aroma. Maybe we're going to try to find that T-Tar now. We do flip a coin, and it is a result, so we will be able to search either an Evolution Pokemon or a Basic Pokemon, depending on which result we flipped. So if it's an Evolution Pokemon, I'd say probably just find an Archeops, but looks like we're going to fail it. Still not sure what that result was, but perfectly fine to just fail it, just to thin the card out of your hand and deck. Looks like we're going to boss this turn. We're going to boss up a Genesect. That is an easy knockout for this Lugia. I personally think that it might have been a little bit better to discard... Well, yes and no, I guess. If you were to boss up the Mew, it makes it so it's a lot harder for Caleb to go for those Psychic Leap plays. But getting rid of the Genesect is just one less way that Caleb can even draw cards. So, it looks like Daichi was able to take the Tyranitar off his prize cards this time. Still has a single strike and a double turbo left in his prize cards. The Ultra Ball, pretty irrelevant at this point. We are going to see the Lost Vacuum is going to get rid of Caleb's own used for Seal Stone so that he can potentially draw more cards. Caleb getting a little bit punished for not benching that Ice Cube earlier because he did redraw into it. And now we're going to have to see the Lost City come down and the Genesect draw just a couple of cards because we can't just attach that Fusion Strike energy here. And yeah, Daichi going after the Genesect is definitely what the correct play was. Looks like we are going to attach and retreat into the other Mew VMAX. And we're just going to have to pass, let this one absorb a hit. And yeah, Daichi should just be able to bench his Tyranitar now. He should have just taken that off the prize cards. Flips a Tails here. He could always take the Tyranitar that's in the deck. He's using this Capturing Aroma just to make sure he has the correct energies in his deck left. And he is going to go. He can double Archeops' ability to get the 2 single strike energies off the first one, and then the final 2 energies that we need, the colorless ones, off of the second one. Retreat his active using the double turbo into the Tyranitar V. Use single strike crush for 560 damage after weakness to be able to knock out that active Mew VMAX. Caleb definitely went and played to all of his outs, but unfortunately he just was not able to get there. And Daichi wins a pretty clean game 3. So yeah, you love to see Caleb gotten really easy win off of game 1 by just Daichi essentially just going draw pass, and Caleb getting the nuts turn 1. And then Daichi was able to come back from behind the second game with the power of the Darkness weakness with Tyranitar. And then game 3 was much more of just your standard sort of back and forth game. But Caleb was just kind of bricking a little bit the whole time. He had to expend too many power tablets in the beginning. And that's just how the game goes. So again, as always, guys, do not forget to comment, like, and subscribe. It's really important. And we will see you guys for round 2 of day 2.